Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first in-person class for outdoor power flow yoga for Saturday mornings. And I'm going to turn off my cell phone because it always tends to go off in the middle of class. It doesn't go off all day until it's class time. Okay, you got to go back inside, Matzo. That was a mistake. Go on. I wouldn't mind if the dog stayed, if he'd stay off of my mat. But, you know, for some reason, the mats draw them. So I'm going to invite you first to sit in a comfortable position. And, of course, yoga without shoes and socks on is easier. I've tried to do, I've only done yoga with shoes and socks when I'm, like, in the forest. Say that again?
Only at the gym have I done it with socks.
Yeah, well, I always find, I don't know about you, Amina, but I always find that socks make it, I don't know, the socks get bungee, you know, and so I always tell students, as a matter of safety, look for the stickiest mat you can find, because when you're in extended poses, the last thing you want is your arm to slide out from underneath you, or, you know, or your foot to slip. So, okay, so what I want you to do is just go ahead and inhale your shoulders up, and then exhale them back down on your back, and take a moment to check your alignment the way that you're sitting. So I always advise people, you want your shoulders to be stacked right over your hips, and you want to be able to shine your heart forward by pulling your shoulders backwards, and then pull your head back so it is also stacked. And by doing so, you open up that energy channel from the root of your spine all the way to the crown of your head, and then you can get full breathing in. So take a moment, you can close your eyes, you can leave them open, whatever works best for you, and just start to get into the breath. Start breathing gently in and out of your stomach. So expanding the belly through the nostrils. And then exhale out of the nostrils. Do that a couple more times. And for the next breath, I want you to concentrate on expanding the belly and your lower ribs. And then move on to expanding your upper ribs and your chest along with the others. And then for your next breath, concentrate on growing it all the way to the crown of your head. Hold it for a moment. And then exhale all the way down with control to the base of the spine. Let's do that one more time. Hold at the top, and then exhale. Let's introduce some movement with breath by inhaling our hands up. Exhale the hands down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And then exhale, bring your hands to your third eye between your eyebrows and then to your heart center. Bow and take a moment to set an intention for your practice this morning. I have gratitude that we're out here among the trees, and fresh air, and finally, for the first time since February, teaching a class in person. Say that again?
My body does not do the things yours does.
Well, over time, you'll learn to do that. And so one of the things that I often tell people, I was just talking to my neighbor about it yesterday. So if you put your hands down, I can demonstrate it for you. So one of the things that we tend to do in our society is roll our shoulders forward. So if I'm having any neck pain or back pain or tension, and I even try to just remind myself to do this all the time now, is I consciously will tell myself to grow the crown long and pull my shoulders back and down at the same time. And right now that feels like a lot of muscle energy. But if you train yourself to do that over time, you will strengthen all of those muscles. And because you revealed that you have the lower back issue, surely I bet you've had upper back pain to go with it. Yeah. Yeah, so they go together, exactly. So if in between all those activities, you can just remind yourself, I'm going to grow the crown of my head long and pull my shoulders down and back all the time, like in average activities, you will strengthen all the muscles up and down the spine, and you will create beautiful space. And we like beautiful space, don't we? Okay, so you can stay on your pillow if you want. I'm going to move my bolster, and we're going to do some stretches. Now, I'm going to advise you, I'm going to show you how to do it using your block. I like to start off every practice just kind of starting to increase some mobility in the back and in the spine before we go into actual movement. So let's first in this position just do some half moon side stretches. Ardha Chandrasana is the name of the pose. So you can sit in any way that works for you. How you're sitting is just fine. Place your left hand on the floor. And let's first place the left hand on the floor and then turn our head to the right shoulder and just create space between this left ear and your left shoulder. And just breathe into that space. One more breath. And then place your right hand on the floor. Do the same thing on the other side where you pull your left ear to your left shoulder, creating space by expanding the distance between your right shoulder and your right ear. And just a gentle stretch of that area. It's amazing. This is a very simple stretch, but it's a very effective one. Then place that right hand flat on the floor. Take your left hand, sweep it overhead, and kind of create a letter C by stretching across and just stretching and opening up that left side. And if it works for you, it always does for me, rotate your heart center more up towards the sky by pulling your left shoulder back. Doesn't matter if your arm is straight or curved. What matters is that you get that nice stretch all along your right side body. And start creating the Ujjayi breath by constricting the space on the back of your throat a little bit when you're breathing in and out. It helps to imagine that you're creating the letter H while you're doing it. And it'll sound a little bit like Darth Vader. One more reach. And then exhale, place your left hand down and sweep your right hand overhead. Nice stretch on the right side. Rotate your right shoulder back. Shine your heart center towards the sky. And then one more stretch. Exhale, place that right hand down. Now I'm going to advise you to take your block. So just one block for now. Go ahead and inhale as high up into the sky. And then exhale, place your block in front of you as far as you feel comfortable. And then to have the stretch on the back of your right hip, we just push that block forward. So I used to teach this without the block, and I realized, oh my gosh, the block is so awesome because it allows you to have your torso lifted up and concentrate the stretch on the back of that hip. Rather than, whenever we show extended poses, people always want to get into the fullest extension, have that chest all the way to the floor, arms way out in front. That isn't really the goal. The goal isn't what that form looks like. The goal is what that form feels like. And if within any pose, you can achieve alignment with breathing at the same time. So what it looks like to your neighbor will look different than what it looks like to you, and that is okay. And just breathe into that wherever you feel any tension. If you feel any difficulty or pain, I advise you to back out of it for your own safety and wellness, because you're accomplishing nothing if you're in pain. Let's inhale together. And then exhale, slide that back or lift it up. And then I want you to reverse your feet. So I'm going to take the foot that's in front and place it behind, and the foot that was behind in front. There you go. Feel comfortable? We're going to do the same thing all over again. So inhale that block up. And then exhale, place the block in front of you and slide forward. And you might find one side feels different than the other. That's always the case. The human body is imperfect, or perfect in its imperfection, right? And I always say also, be careful. If you have one side that's stronger, more open than the other, don't exploit that. It's fun, it feels good, but it will also lead to imbalance. So what we try to achieve always in yoga is balance. Equal extension and equal demonstration of your strength on either side. But I get it. My right side is always more closed than the left, and I can do a lot more on the left side, but I have to tell myself, no, back off a little. Take an inhale, and then exhale. Let's bring that block back. And if you feel ready, we can move to the top of the mat in a standing pose. Look, you can see my whole body. I've adjusted it just right. You should see how my computer is balanced, Amina. I don't think this is.
I can only imagine.
It's sitting on the banister, and it's my Mac, so I really, don't want to drop it. Huh?
Oh, I've been there.
I know.
I've been there.
I know. That's it. That's a good idea. Velcro it.
I was able to get to the mat today because it didn't matter what it looks like. I was like, doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm a student.
That's right. Okay, so what I want you to do first is lift up all your toes. And then I want you to pull your belly button in against your spine. And if you create a slight bend in your knees, that will force you to use all these muscles and tilt down your tailbone. That's a lot of work going on, right? And then inhale your shoulders up, and then pull them back away from your ears and together in the back like you're squeezing a pencil. And then you have your hands facing forward by your sides. So your shoulders are stacked over your hips over your ankles, and then move your head back in space slightly so that everything is lined up. Probably feels weird, like you're going to fall backwards. This is actually how we should stand. I know. And then I want you to lower your toes gently and keep your feet active. So an active foot, this is your root system. Your feet, if they're active and engaged, kind of, you take that energy and it moves upward through your body. And so in downward facing dog, we kind of have two actions going on. We do have the downward action where we're rooting into the ground, but then we're taking the energy from the ground and carrying it up the body. It's really an amazing pose. And this is one you can practice at the grocery store in line. So, so inhale your hands up, create that extension and that alignment. And then exhale your hands down, keeping your crown high to the sky. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then one more inhale. And then I'm going to advise you to slightly bend your legs. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, lay your torso across your legs to start. And you might choose to grab your blocks to support yourself since you're kind of not used to this movement. And just, kind of sit over your thighs for a moment. There you go. And you can bend your legs as deeply as you need to. I just want you to be used to kind of that alignment, of hinging at the hips. And then we're going to go into Uttanasana. So you can keep your legs bent, and going into Uttanasana, we're just folding our body. And I want the organic movement to come from your core, actually, by pulling your belly against your spine. That allows you to bend safely. And then I want you to inhale the crown of your head forward. You can straighten out your legs, and you're creating like a letter L with your body. And then exhale, bend forward again. And release your blocks and rise all the way up to standing, inhaling your hands all the way to the top. And then exhale them back down to your heart center. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive forward. You can have your legs bent or straight, whatever works for you. You can use your blocks or have your hands on the floor. As you fold forward, fold from your belly button. And then inhale into a flat back. Exhale down, pulling the belly button in. And then inhale, reverse that. Flat back all the way up to the top. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Now I want to explain to you why I told you to pull your belly button in. A lot of times when people go into forward folds, they compromise the lower back by pulling their way into it. I'm teaching you to use the organic muscle energy you've got to pull it in, because like I said, the form doesn't matter. You might see somebody in the room that has their body completely laid across their legs. Mine usually isn't either. Even though I'm very flexible, my back will still round. But if I'm pulling the energy in here, I'm not forcing a stretch out of all that lower back. You'll get the nice stretch on the back of your hamstrings without compromising your lower back. So that's why I tell you that. So inhale your hands up. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Now, I'm going to ask you to move back into the first downward facing dog of the day. So plant your hands on the floor, move your feet back, and bend your knees deeply. And what I want you to shoot for is moving your hips back and up and pushing the mat away with your hands, but keep your legs bent deeply. Let me take a moment. Oh, your form is quite good, actually. So bend your legs even more deeply.
My left leg doesn't bend.
It doesn't want to bend. Okay, that's fine.
The calf muscles damaged.
Okay, so as you imagine, I'm not going to touch you because we're kind of in a no-touch phase of yoga these days, but your form is beautiful. And I just want you to just concentrate on what your shoulders are doing in terms of just pushing away and rising your hips high in the air. And you're just doing a great, great job. Oh, good. We want it to feel good. Yoga shouldn't hurt. It should not be painful. So go ahead and inhale. And then as you exhale, push your hips back, stretch out, hollow out your armpits, pulling your shoulders down away from the ear. Inhale. Exhale. And then on the inhale, I want you to pull your right foot forward. Now you can do it this way, where you pull your knee against your chest and shift your weight forward and put your hand between your legs, or you can just kind of drag your foot forward and kind of bunny hop it up, however works for you. Then drop your left leg. So there you go. You have great alignment. So what I'm just going to have you do now is grab your blocks again, and let's just lean in. So we are in Anjaneyasana with our left knee on the ground, right knee up, and the same principle of alignment always takes place. So I always take a check, look where my knee is in relation to my ankle, and if everything's lined up, we're good to go. So I'm just going to advise you right now, just stretch into this. You'll have a nice front of the hip stretch, the left hip, and just you can lean into that as far as feels good to you. That's good enough. Go ahead and place your hands on the floor, tuck your left toe, inhale, and then exhale, bring your left foot to join your right. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, reverse that swan dive all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, your hands down. Uttanasana. Take your left foot and place it back and drop the knee again. Go ahead and rise up. Oh,
Same side?
yeah, we're on the same side. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So if you want to, you can rise up. And then exhale, place your hand down. And then we'll move back into downward facing dog. Bend your knees deeply again this time, since you're still warming up the spine. And breathe a couple of times here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, bring your left foot in between your hands and drop your right knee. Grab your blocks again. There you go. And then just focus on stretching out that front of your right hip. Chest high up into the ceiling, into the sky rather. I'm outside, change the language. And just focus on alignment and getting a nice stretch of that hip. Have you done yoga with blocks before? Oh, good. So you're going to just learn how great it is to have blocks. Tuck your right toes. Inhale. Exhale, bring your right foot to join your left foot. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, heart, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor. Take your right foot back, drop the knee, raise your hands up into Anjaneyasana, and then exhale, hands down to the floor, and we'll move back into downward facing dog again. And each dog that you go into, you might be able to progressively extend it now that your spine is warming up. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to go into the next sequence. So go ahead and raise your right leg into the air at hip height. And then exhale, bring your knee to nose and pull your foot in between your hands. Now, if you want to leave your knee back on the ground again this time, you can, or you can have it raised up. There you go. Inhale your hands up. Oh, you're doing great. You're very strong. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Bring your left foot to join your right foot. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale them up to the side. Exhale, swan dive forward. Take that same left leg and place it back. And we're going to go back up again. Now let's take a twist. So I'm going to advise you to use your blocks, and I'm going to show you that variation. Okay, so just take your left your left hand, place your left block kind of on the inside of your right foot, about 10 inches away, and just place your right hand on your hip and twist by pulling your right shoulder back. And if you want to, you can have your right hand up into the air. And this is a nice gentle twist. Probably feel it on the outside of your right hip. One more breath. And then exhale, place your right hand on the floor. Move your block to the side, move back into downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Second breath. Exhale. Now on the inhale, pick up your left leg to hip height. Exhale, pull your knee to nose, shift your weight through and pull that knee all the way through. That's okay. I always say to people, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You know, the more you use both sides equally, the more you will continue to heal. Yeah. So if you want to, you know, just you can raise both hands up if you want to. You seemed like you were strong enough on the other side to do that, or you can use your blocks. You're doing great. Inhale. Exhale your hands down. Move back, pull your right foot forward. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. All the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer, heart center. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Take your right foot back again. And rise up if that works for you. So you can do that continued variation that I showed you. And I'm going to do the next variation, which is placing my hands at prayer and then twisting that way. Let's breathe together one more time. And then exhale, place your hands on the floor, move back into downward facing dog. I know, I tried to hike yesterday with a mask on and I was dying. I kept taking it off. That's the issue. Yeah, it's hard to get back in. Inhale. Exhale, extend your dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, walk up to the top of the mat and sit back. So have your hands on the ground and kind of sit back. We're going to go into chair pose. Now, you don't have to go as deeply as I go. I want you to go to the degree that works for you. That's right. So now you can choose this variation where all you do is keep your hands on your knees. I'm going to take my hands up and we're going to hold this for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, last breath, 5. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, place your hands on the floor, and we're going to move back into the first plank of the day. So if holding a full plank is difficult, you can drop your legs. And what I tell people in that is always focus on shining the heart forward, pulling the belly button in against the spine, lowering your hips a little bit. There you go. So we're going to hold this for 5 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So 3. Inhale. Exhale. Final inhale. And on the exhale, pull your elbows against your rib cage as you lower all the way to the floor. That always feels so good after the first plank. So then go ahead and place your elbows underneath your shoulders. This is Sphinx pose. We're just gonna pull our heart center forward as we lift up our shoulders. And so this is a wonderful pose for you to do every day. This helps strengthen you can relax your legs. So there you go.
It's hard for my legs because it's shaking because it doesn't just.
Yeah, you don't have to rise as high as I am rising, but what I want you to concentrate on is where do you feel it? You should feel muscle engagement right along the center of your spine. That's good. That is strengthening all those muscles. So let's inhale. Exhale. So your assignment, if you should choose to accept it, is to do this every day this week. Just this pose, okay? Go ahead and place your hands on the floor and then move back into child's pose. So place your toes together, separate your legs, and then move back and sit on your heels. So now you can extend all the way forward if that works for you. You can place your hands on top of each other, placing your forehead on your hands, whichever works best for you. And just concentrate on the breath. One more inhale. And then exhale, move back forward, lay back on your belly. And we're going to use those same muscles that you identified when you were in Sphinx pose. We're going to do low cobra. So in low cobra, I want you to inhale your shoulders up to your ears, pull them down your back. And as you do that, raise your chest slightly. Do not use your arms, just all those muscles in the back. And then lower back down. Inhale your shoulders up and down your back as you lift up your chest. And then exhale, lower that back down. And one more time, inhale up. Exhale, shoulders back and down as you lift up your chest, touch your toes, bend your knees, and move back into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, raise your right foot up to hip height. And then exhale, bring it in between the hands. And swivel your left heel down. There you go. So have it so that it's at like a 45-degree angle is best. And if you need to widen your stance a little bit to create space, you can do that. So just initially rise up and touch your hip bones. So what you're always aiming for, that's so okay. So what you're aiming for in this pose is for your hip points to be facing forward. So my advice to you would be slightly bring your left foot in and then have your toes turn more to the front. And then widen your stance so that your left foot is more towards the left side of your mat. And then turn your toes more to the front if you're able to. Okay, all right, go ahead and bend your right knee. So did you see the change?
Yeah, it actually is facing the door now.
Yeah, so over time, you may find still that it's not perfect, and that's okay. Over time, you're training your body to develop this memory of alignment, because when we have that alignment is when we're most safe. So everybody's form looks different, but over time, we have certain alignment principles we're working to achieve. So this is, you probably already feel quite a bit of engagement in your left leg, right? Let's open up our warrior 1 to warrior 2. So to do that, we just shift our stance so that our left foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Our right toes are facing forward. So if you want to start with your left leg, you can, but I was going to have you start with your right. So turn your right toes towards the front of the mat. There you go, good job. And then just bend your right leg deeply. And then as you bend it deeply, use the muscles that are on the outside of your hip to pull your knee back towards your toes. You've got some nice alignment going on. And you'll notice when you look down across the center of your thigh, you will see the inside of your foot. When you can see the inside of your foot, you've got it. So go ahead and raise your hands up and look out over your right fingers. And this is a strengthening pose. So I always tell people in the same principles, pulling the shoulder blades together, pulls the shoulders back, allows the heart to shine forward, pulling the belly button in against the spine and tilting the tailbone down. It looks like there's not a lot going on, but look at all that I just gave you. And then let's reverse that warrior by just tilting backwards, right? So you're reaching for the sky with your right hand as you allow your left hand to just rest on your left leg and keep that same deep bend in your right leg. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale, reach. And then exhale, take your right forearm and place it on your right thigh. There you go. And go ahead and rotate your heart center up by pulling your left shoulder back and then bring your left hand to the sky. You can leave it there or you can have it trailing along your right ear or left ear. And we'll hold this for a couple of breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, I want you to reach forward, circle your hand down, go back into warrior two arms, inhale. Yes, and then exhale, cartwheel those down on either side of your foot and bring your other foot back to join the left foot. So this is a power class. You do what works for you. We're going to switch over, shifting all of our weight to the right side. So I'm going to advise you to drop your right knee and then swivel your right leg out like a kickstand. There you go. And then I want you to place your hand in the center, your right hand in the center, and just rotate your hips up. There you go. And always concentrate on rotating the left shoulder back, rotating the left hip up at the same time. And that's the proper alignment. Now I'm going to go into the full expression of plank pose, and we'll hold this for 5 breaths. Oops. What kind of a knuckle window, but I went into it. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale, place your left hand down to join your right hand. We're going to do that push-up that I showed you before, lowering all the way down. And then you can pull through into low cobra or all the way into upward facing dog. And then on the exhale, tuck your toes if you need to, bend your legs, or go straight back into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale your left leg up to hip height. Exhale, shift your weight forward, pulling that left in between your hands. There you go. And we're setting up again for warrior one. So go ahead and just rise up like I showed you before. Both hands on your hip points. Different alignment on this side. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you need balance. You need yoga for balance. That's right. So your alignment is just fantastic. Okay. Just always remember all those principles that I talked to you about. And then we're going to open this up into warrior two. So again, in warrior two, we're engaging these muscles on the outside of the left thigh to pull that knee out back towards the toes. Pull the belly button in, rise the crown of your head high to the sky. Pull your shoulder points together in the back. And then look out gracefully and peacefully over your left fingertips. This is a wonderful hip opener and hip strengthening pose. One more breath together. And then exhale, take your left forearm and place it on your left knee. You can raise your hand to the ceiling, to the sky, or you can bring it overhead alongside your right ear. The more you drop your left hip down, increasing your bend, the more straight your line is from your ankle to your fingertips. And then focus on rotating your right shoulder back, shining your heart center up towards the sky. You know what we didn't do? We didn't do reverse warrior. So we'll do that. Amina, we're going to add that in. We must have balance. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands in a circle down and back up into warrior two, and then reverse your warrior. Reaching for the sky, allowing your right hand to rest on the back of your right leg. One more inhale. And then exhale back into warrior two. Inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down and move back into that plank again. Now we're going to do the other side. So you can kickstand your left foot. Now I'm just going to go into a left side plank. So place your left hand in the center, swivel over to the left leg or create your kickstand, and then lifting your hips high in the air, stretch your hands up to the sky. That was 2 breaths. 3 more. Inhale. Inhale 4. And last inhale. Exhale, drop your right hand to the floor, lower Chaturanga Dandasana, and then inhale into upward facing dog. Urdhva Matsavasana. I always say that one's funny. And then we're going to move back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Savasana. You can continue to bend your legs if that works for you. You can have them straight. By this point, your heels may or may not be touching the floor, and that is okay. And just keep moving your hips back. Enjoy that stretch. Now we're going to set up for a sequence in triangle. So go ahead and raise your right leg to the sky. Exhale, pull knee to nose, shift your weight forward and pull your right foot all the way through, opening up into warrior two. You got it. Excellent. So what I'm going to have you do is straighten out your right leg. That's your inhale. On the exhale, I just want you to reach forward, reach. And I'm going to advise you to grab your block and rest your hand on your block. So place your left hand on your left hip for now. There you go. And just focus on alignment by pulling your left shoulder back. Again, you have a beautiful form. So think of it like you've got a piece of plexiglass behind you and you're trying to push your body up against that plexiglass so that your whole body is touching it. And that would be the alignment. And then when you're thinking about your legs and your hips, you're thinking about tilting your tailbone down and you're thinking about rotating your inner right thigh up so that your kneecap is facing the sky. Now, whether or not you achieve that form is not what's important. What's important is that you are thinking that and trying to achieve that form to engage those muscles. It's all about the muscles that we engage. So now if you feel like you're in good form, go ahead and raise your right hand to the ceiling. And always concentrate on pulling the crown of your head forward to the front of your mat to create extension all along your left side body and create space for breathing. One more inhale. And then exhale, place your left hand down on the inside of your left foot. Shorten your stance slightly and bring your left foot in. We're setting up for pyramid pose. So with pyramid, I'm going to advise you to grab both your blocks, and I want you to reach your head forward. This may be your extended version. If you feel like you can, you can start to allow your torso to descend down your right leg. But what I want you to think about while you're doing that is pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward and pulling your hips together to maintain your alignment in the pose. And I always say, you know, don't dip your head until you've achieved that extension along the lower and middle back first. And then if you feel comfortable, you can allow your head to descend. You can create a micro bend in your right leg. That's totally fine. And then just breathe into this. How do you feel? You feel good? Excellent. We want you to feel good. Excellent. Now I'm going to take your left block, place it on the inside, rise up on your left block with your left hand, place your right hand on your right hip bone. And then I want you to revolve your triangle by pulling your right shoulder back. Keep your hips in the same alignment they were in. This may be your revolved triangle right now, and that is okay. The full extension of it is to raise the hand to the ceiling. I feel unstable on the block because I have more extension. Huh? Yeah, don't revolve it all the way. You don't have to lift your arm up, but we're now in revolved triangle. So this is what it looks like. So one day this might be what you're working towards, and that's okay if you're not there now. Rome wasn't built in a day. We must always have patience with our bodies. And we'll breathe 3 more times in this pose. One more inhale. Now on the exhale, place your right hand next to your right foot. Now, I normally in this sequence will also go into standing half moon pose. You can join me in doing that by using your block. So go ahead and bend your right leg and shift your weight forward. And initially, just have your left foot up at hip height behind you. Okay, you can use both your blocks for this if you want. So this would help you set up for, and I would recommend actually this time that this be the extent of where you go. Okay, but for me, I'm going to take my right hand, place it 12 inches or so to the diagonal on the outside of my right foot. I'm going to take my left hand and place it on my hip, my left hip, and rotate my hips up. And then once they are fully rotated up, I'm going to raise up my arm, opening up my chest, opening up my hip. And this is extended half moon, balancing half moon. And there's even a greater variation of it that I won't show today.
It took me down when I demoed it.
Well, you know what happens? I mean, there's like so much and we're moving so slow. It's like, ah!
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Feels good.
go ahead and I'm going to move this left block out of my way, place my left hand down, and gracefully go back to, there you go, Anjaneyasana feet. So basically a runner's lunge. And then let's go ahead and rise up into that lunge because that feels good. And then sink it down. How you doing there, Amina?
I'm doing good. I went rogue, but I'm with you.
You went rogue, right on.
I had the toddler needs.
Yeah, toddlers are rogue.
Balance.
They make us go rogue with them. Inhale, and then exhale your hands down. Move your right foot back to join your left. Chaturanga Dandasana down. Inhale into Urdhva Maha Savasana. And then exhale into Adho Mukha Savasana. Oh. Now I'm really warmed up. I'm getting a beautiful extension in my downward dog. It feels so wonderful. Okay, inhale your left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose, shift your weight forward. Put your left foot in between. You're fine, take your time. And then we're gonna open up into Warrior Two. And then inhale, straighten out your left foot. And then on the exhale, reach forward, reach forward, reach forward. Use your block as my recommendation to go into your triangle. Start off with your right hand on your right hip, rotating your right shoulder back, rotating your right hip up. And then when you feel like you've got that beautiful extension and alignment, then you may put your hand up to the sky. Concentrate your energies your alignment on pulling the crown of your head forward to the front of your mat, rotating your left inner thigh up so that your kneecap is facing the sky. How does this side feel for you compared to the other side? Oh, good. 2 more breaths. Final breath together. And then exhale. Place your right hand down on the inside of your right foot. Shorten your stance slightly as we set up for pyramid pose. So remember, you can use your blocks. And initially, what we're focusing on is extension. So pull the crown of your head forward, like you're creating that letter L that we had earlier. And then when you feel like you've got that extension and your hips are properly aligned by pulling your left hip backwards while you pull your right hip forward, then you may start to lower your torso across your leg. And your concentration of focus, be looking at the top of your ankle actually, because that will tell your body to be over there. You can also take the flesh of your belly, I've got flesh on my belly, and you can kind of pull it to the outside on the left side to create some space that way for your ribs to lay across your thigh. Maintain that micro bend in the left leg. I've got one in mine. And then when you feel ready, if you feel like you've got safe extension, then you may lower your head. How you feeling there, Mina?
Tight today, man. So grateful for class.
Oh, good. It's really warm here, so I'm getting a nice opening of the body today. Inhale, and then exhale. Place your right hand on the inside of your right foot. I would recommend that you take your block to do this. And go ahead and place your left hand on your left hip, and now just open up. So pulling your left shoulder backwards, rotating your heart to the sky, and then if you feel like you can lift up your arm, or you can stay right where you're at. This is your revolved triangle. It's truly a twist, and so you have to be attentive to any kind of tension you're creating on your lower spine with this. And of course, as I said before, pulling your right hip forward as you pull your left hip back, so you locks your hips. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, I showed you before that variation for half moon, but I'm going to go into a full balancing half moon pose. You with me, Amina?
I'm with you.
We're heading into balancing half moon. So go ahead and bend your left leg, rise your right hip up. This is going to be your variation for today. And I'm going to place my left hand 10 to 12 inches on the diagonal of my left foot. Rotate my right hip bone up. Rotate my right shoulder back. And then raise up my hand. This is my favorite pose. I feel free in this pose.
Really? Wow. Wow.
I do. I feel like I'm
never
soaring.
met anybody with this favorite.
What did you say? When I showed Steven this pose, he was like, I don't like this one, Kathleen. I don't like this one.
A lot of people aren't comfortable. It's a real difficult pose. I mean, it's a real hard pose. Awesome.
Well, and it takes you out of your center of gravity a little bit.
Exactly.
Puts you off center. Let's inhale and extend. And then exhale. Place your right hand on the floor. Balance on your right foot in a runner's lunge. And go ahead and rise up, Anjaneyasana. Sink your hips down. Go ahead and rise your hands up on the breath. Inhale. And exhale, place your hands down either side. Bring your left foot back to join your right foot. Inhale. Exhale, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up the dog so we can get one last great extension before we go into some standing balance poses. So go ahead, rise your right hip, your foot up to hip height, and then rise it up as far as you want to go, keeping that alignment. If you want to join me, now I'm going to open up my right hip and start to curl my left heel back towards my left buttock, or my right foot back towards my right hip. So you don't have to do this full extension. You can just do the three-legged dog that I showed you. So, but this pose is wonderful for stretching out the whole right side. One more inhale together. Exhale, straighten out your hips, lower your right foot to the floor, and then rise up your left hip on the inhale. And then if you want to stay here at three-legged dog, that's totally fine, but I'm going to open up my left hip. I can adjust my hand slightly. And then I'm going to curl my left heel towards my left hip and open it up. One more inhale. And then exhale, straighten out your hips. Drop your left foot to join your right, and then sit down on your knees. And we're going to go ahead and sit back. You know, I think you're doing wonderful. So, well, and this is a power flow, so I didn't move into it as slowly as I would in my Thursday night vinyasa flow. So we went straight into some strengthening poses today, and these are all, huh? Oh, good. Well, you look like you're holding up well. So sitting like this is really good for us to do. I tried to integrate into every practice some deep knee work. And so I could sit like this for hours now. The only thing that keeps me from being able to do it is bony ankles, you know, but now we're going to go into hero pose, and you may or may not have hips open to do that. So I'm going to advise you to grab your block. So when we go into hero, we keep our knees together and we spread our feet apart and we sit down in between them. So you're open enough to do it. So when you're, huh?
I sat like this a lot until I was in like my 20s.
That's really great though, because keeping our mobility is the key to our health as we age, for sure. I don't know how old you are, but oh, you're young. That's how old I was when I had my first child.
I like used to like this all the time in my 20s, and eventually I was like, this isn't comfortable anymore.
Well, and for me, it is very comfortable. I sit in this at every single practice. By sitting in hero pose, one, we're encouraging, you know, mobility in the hips, and we're also encouraging synovial fluid to go into our joints. And as we age, you're young still. Can you believe how young she is, Amina? She's 20 years younger than me. But as we age,
Okay.
32 years old. She's a youngster. So, but it's important to have a lot of mobility in your knees, because particularly as women age, we are prone to ligament injuries and tears. Yeah, so you can always lift up then by sitting on a block. Yeah, and over time, your ankles will open up too. Everything, you know, and you can, if that block's too high, you could try the pillow. So you can try variations, and you can change the height. You can even buy half blocks. Yeah, perfect. So you can also buy half blocks, and I need to buy some of those groovy Mexican blankets. All righty, very, very good. So let's go ahead and get up on our knees, and we're going to go into a sequence of camel, because camel is wonderful. Great heart opening pose, strength pose. So I'm going to have you have your blocks nearby. And we're going to do 4 variations of camel to start, okay? So the first variation is we're just going to place our blocks on either side, place our hands like right where our SI joints are, lift up your chest high and pull your elbows together in the back. And just focus on lifting. Don't focus on curling back, just focus on lifting. You may feel tension in your SI joints right now. Do you feel any tension? Oh, good. So, yeah. Well, so we're not, when we go into this pose, we're not bending from the lower back. We're actually bending, we're curling at the upper back, which is why I'm telling you to extend your chest center like somebody's pulling a string to that tree above you. Just rising that chest center up. Yeah, but that's good. It keeps it safe. Then I'm going to advise you to take your blocks. So the next variation is going to be take your blocks, and place them back by your ankles. And I turn my hands around to do it. So you find your hand position that works for you. Some people hang on to the top of the block, but I always turn mine and tent my hands. And then you could do that same thing, but now you're curling back more in the upper back because you're reaching for those blocks. Let's inhale together one more time. And then on the exhale, I'm going to have you sit back on your heels briefly. So we always do kind of a counter movement when we do that kind of extension movement. Some people will go straight into child's pose as the counter movement for this. But if you're not used to that movement back and forth, that might be too far to go. But in future practices, you would expect that to be the case, where we'd rest in child's pose for a breath or two, and then return back to the next variation of camel. Go ahead and get back up on your knees. You can continue on your blocks, but I'm actually going to tuck my toes. And one variation you can do a one-handed variation, or you can do two-handed. So let's do the one-handed variation to start. So inhale, place our hands on our SI joints again. Inhale, rise your chest up to the sky. Place your left hand on your left heel if that's available to you. And then place your right hand up to the sky. So this is like half camel, right? But this gets you into that feeling of it. Inhale. Exhale, rise up. And then you can place your right hand on your right heel. Raise your left hand to the sky. And focus again on extension and pulling your heart center up. One more inhale. And then exhale, sit back down on your heels. Takes a little bit of that crunch out of the lower back, because even though we try not to, it happens. One nice big breath. And then on the exhale, rise up to your knees again, and I'm going to go into the next variation, which is both hands on the back of the heels. So if you have comfort in the other two levels and you feel safe doing this, go ahead. No, that's good. I'm glad you're paying attention to the body. So now, again, focus on pushing the hips forward now, rising your chest up to the sky. You can open your throat with this if you want. Some people find that very intimidating, so some people keep their chin down to the chest, and some people actually open the throat and tip the head back. Camel is a really vulnerable pose. A lot of people aren't comfortable in it because it really just exposes you emotionally and physically. But again, it's one of my favorites. Inhale. Exhale, pulling shoulder blades together, pushing the hips forward. Inhale. And then exhale, let's come out of the pose by tipping our chin to our chest, crunching our belly button into our spine, and rising up into standing. And then you can sit down. So another method to get out of that, they say, is springing, but I haven't managed the spring motion to do that. So, so let's go ahead to standing pose. So we're going to do a tree variation. Okay, so there's three variations of your fit position in tree. So you would first start with your feet together, okay, and then bend your right leg and turn your ankle into your right ankle. So I'm sorry, turn your heel into your right ankle and turning your hip out. Yeah. So whichever one you want to start off with, okay? So that's the first variation. And what you're focusing on is those same alignment principles I told you before, where you might have to change how much your knee turns out so that you can have both of your hip points going forward, okay? So this may be your tree pose right now as you build those muscles in your hips. The next variation is to bring your foot up to the middle of your calf muscle, kind of like your toe, your sole of your foot is hugging your calf muscle. Sometimes you'll see in pictures around the knee joint, that is not really recommended because it's not safe. So I'll bring mine all the way up to the top of my leg so that my heel is right where my hip crease is. So that's the variation I'm going to choose today. Go ahead and place your hands at heart center. And just focus on being strong. It's like you're in a one-legged mountain pose right now, right? And when you're strong, when your root system is firmly entrenched in the earth, nothing can blow you over. This is a wonderful pose for teaching discipline of the mind and teaching the body to be strong. So you can inhale your hands up if you want to join me, and you can create tree branches by creating a letter V with your hands. Concentrate on widening your collarbones and pulling your shoulder points together on the back. That alone is very strengthening. And then another variation, but I'm not going to have you do it today because you're just learning this, is to clasp your hands in the back by taking your right hand and tapping on the back of your back like you're giving yourself a pat on the back, and then taking your other hand and curling it up and grabbing your fingers together. I like to do many variations while I'm in it. One more inhale. And then go ahead and bring our hands to prayer pose. And then on the exhale, gently lower your right leg with control. So for the next easy side, you'll go ahead and plant your foot. Turn your left knee out, bringing your heel to your ankle if that is your variation, or up to the center of your calf, or all the way up to the top of the leg. Huh? That's totally okay. You don't have to, okay? And then if you feel like it, you can bring your hands up, your tree branches, letter V with your hands. And remember what I told you about difference in side? Well, my left shoulder behaves completely different than my right shoulder. So I can get my hands close together in the back, but I can't clasp them. And it's never changed. It's been that way for 20 or 30 years. Isn't that crazy? I've never been able to get those fingers to clasp. But that's not important. What's important is the alignment, the pulling the shoulder points together in the back, the rising the heart center up, and calm focus. Go ahead and unravel the hands and place them at heart center. Inhale. And then exhale, bring your left foot down. So you up for one more standing pose, Amina, before we drop to the mat?
Yeah, one more.
One more. Okay, so go ahead and take your right knee and pull it up to your chest. So you're balancing on your left foot and you're bringing that up to your chest. So for you, I'm going to advise that you keep your knee bent. And then when we go to move it out to the side, you just keep your knee bent like so. So for now, you just stay in the position you're in. And I'm going to grab my baby toe, or my big toe, I'm sorry, with my two fingers and stretch my foot out in front. Yeah, don't do that today. It's okay. Okay. And while I'm in this position, I am pulling my right shoulder back so that it's in alignment with my left shoulder. And then I'm going to inhale. On the exhale, I'm going to open up my right foot to the side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, bring it to the center again. Oh, I just lost my balance, Amina. I'm picking up my foot again. I'm going to grab my ankles, my left ankle, or my right ankle, I'm sorry, with both my hands. Oops. And then curl down across that leg. And then I'm going to raise up my hands and hold it up in the air. Woo. And then on the exhale, drop it down. My alignment sucked. Okay, I haven't done that whole sequence in a while. All righty then. Go ahead and shake out that tension. Plant your right foot. Go ahead and bring your left knee up to the chest. And that's the position you're going to hold, correct? So you just focus on alignment in that. You focus on pulling your shoulders backwards and having balance and peace while you stand there. I'm going to move on and grab my left big toe with my left hand straighten out my leg in front. And again, focusing on pulling my left shoulder back to have alignment. And then I'm going to open that up to the left. I find it's really hard to hang on to my toe, so I've just moved to the outside edge of my left foot. My fingers always want to slide off. One more inhale. Exhale, move that back to center. Grab your right ankle or your left ankle, I'm sorry, with both your hands. Curl over your leg. And then keep your leg up as you raise your hands. And then exhale, lower it down with control. Ah! Okay, go ahead and raise our hands up to clean that out. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Move back into downward facing dog. And then inhale, exhale, bend your knees deeply, and then hop up to your hands and sit down. That's the fake it till you make it version that I do. I don't have the extension, never have managed to like pull my feet all the way through and then sit down. So whatever, it's okay. So let's do just a little bit of boat pose. It's very important to do some ab work, to strengthen your core. So I'm going to advise you first, start with your hands on top of your knees. Rise the crown of your head all the way up to the sky. So you have perfect alignment right now. Maintaining that perfect alignment in unison from the crown of your head all the way down to your hips. I want you to just lean back. This may be your boat pose. This right now engages all the muscles you use in boat pose, but safely. Okay, so go ahead and breathe 3 times in this. And then one more inhale. Exhale, fold over your thighs. Oh, excuse me, just burped. Fold over your thighs to stretch out your back a little bit. Then the next variation, if you felt good in that, would be just placing your hands underneath your thighs. Same principle. Rise the crown of your head all the way up. And then in unison, crown to hip, just lean back. You're creating nice letter V. So, you know, I advise that nobody hangs on to their thighs with dear life here. That's not the goal. But you are engaging all of your stomach muscles and you're probably feeling them fire off right now. Inhale. And then exhale, lay over your thighs. So the next variation, you can continue the way you were going and just stay in that, or you can extend on to the next variation. I always say there's not beginning, intermediate, and advanced yoga. There's extension. There's the least extended version and the most extended version. All of them are the same pose, just in greater variations of extension. So I'm going to place my hands out parallel to the ground, not hanging onto anything, still keeping my feet on the ground, and I'm going to lean back. I like doing this build up in boat pose because it gets all of our abdominal muscles ready for the big finale. One more inhale. And then exhale, lean forward. So the next variation is going to actually be lifting the feet off the floor. If you felt like you were working hard enough in that, you might just keep your feet on the floor for the next one. So inhale your spine up. And then exhale, lean back, feet off the floor. They can be parallel, or you can straighten out your legs into the complete letter V. One more breath in. And then exhale, lower everything down. Lie over your thighs briefly to just relax your lower back. And then scoot back so that you're sitting in a letter L. There you go, sitting up. Okay, so this is staff pose. And this pose alone is a strengthening pose. You might be feeling all of your muscles in your back and your hips working to keep you in this.
Here,
You'll develop muscle memory for this pose and it will start to feel comfortable over time. So, but what we're going to do is inhale our hands up and then exhale, lean forward. So you might take your blocks so that you have proper alignment as you're going forward. And what I tell people is don't focus on reaching for your feet. Focus on bringing your heart center forward, okay? And then if you have the room and you can grab your feet, then go ahead and grab them. But I would like you to concentrate on just moving your heart center forward. So this is a pose where you can do a lot of damage to your lower back if you're not careful. Sometimes people will roll up a towel underneath their legs to bend them to make it an easier bend forward. So you might consider bringing to class, you know, a thick towel that you can roll up under your legs. Extension feels good. Okay, let's inhale, exhale, and inhale, rise all the way up. Go ahead and bend your legs. Instead of doing traditional pigeon, we're going to do pigeon from a seating position because it's kind of less stressful. So take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee and place your hands behind you. So that may be your variation today. To increase the pose, we just move our hips closer to our left heel. And to increase it further, we can bring our hands closer into our back. Pay attention to what your knee is feeling. If you have tension in your knee, just back out a little bit. I kind of always have tension in this knee because my right hip is not as open as my left, but I know how far I can push that. So, but what I find in pigeon is you'll start off kind of not as extended or not as stretched, if you will. And then over time, I'll find I can move my hands closer, I can move my left heel closer, until eventually everything is really nice and tight and stretched out. And so it just, you know, you just listen to your body. But when we allow our body to naturally open, you get into that extension that you're seeking over time as your body is ready. Now, Amina teaches a wonderful yin class. And yin is all about honoring the body's ability to open up at its own timing and not forcing anything. And you do it with a lot of wonderful props and supports. It's very relaxing, but it's also very beneficial. So you'll notice I just moved again. You can get just a great stretch doing this. And you can do this in a chair. You can do this on the floor. You can do it up against a wall. There's lots of ways that you can do this pose. Some people find it hard to do the full extension on the floor. I just posted a sequence of that full on the floor one the other night. Okay, so let's go ahead and gently release that, moving our left foot out, taking our left hand and taking our left foot off, or take our right foot off of our knee, and then put our left ankle across. All right.
I'm doing yoga.
And on this side, as usual, I'm always more open, but I try not to really overextend on this side, as good as it feels. And these kind of stretches are really good for people with lower back issues.
Yeah, I do a lot of similar ones.
Good.
Like on the couch, you have you're laying over your leg.
Yes,
like this,
yes.
And like it's extended behind you.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
There's a half physical therapy is just modified yoga poses.
A lot of it is. It's true.
Like almost all of it.
Yeah, which is just great. All righty, so now we're going to move into our final resting pose of the day, Shavasana. So I'm going to tell you, use the last of your ab strength to move yourself backwards, to lay down, All right. And then once you've arrived at the floor, you have your choice of your feet position. You can have your feet up like this if that works for you. You can do bound angle pose where the soles of your feet are together and you're allowing your knees to just kind of fall out. I really love that one variation myself. Or you can extend your legs out so that you're completely laying down. And think of the position in Shavasana as like a relaxed mountain pose. So you're pulling your shoulder points together down on the floor so you have support of your upper back and neck. Have your hands facing the sky, arms down alongside the sides of your body. And just take a moment to start to slow your breath down. Shavasana is really important. Just take the time to restore yourself back after you've worked so hard in your practice. It brings all the benefits to you. I'm going to give you some visualization to concentrate on to scan the whole body. So first, I want you to take a big inhale. Focus your energy on the crown of your head, on your crown chakra. The color of that chakra is white, our connection with the universe, our expression of higher consciousness. And I want you to inhale. Now on the exhale, I want you to release any tension out of the top of the head. Now I want you to inhale and focus your attention on the third eye chakra, that space between your eyebrows. The color there might be indigo blue or violet. This is the place where we learn to turn in and have introspection. I want you to inhale deeply. And then release any tension out of that area, out of the eyes, out of the face, out of the skin, by the ears. Now I want you to inhale and focus on the area in front of your throat, the throat chakra. The color is like a turquoise or a light blue. This is the place where you find your voice, you express your purpose, where you advocate for that which you believe. I want you to inhale. And then exhale, release any tension out of the jaw, out of the neck, out of the shoulders, out of the chest. And then on your next inhale, draw your attention to the heart. The Anahata color is green. Your heart chakra joins your higher consciousness with your lower body. In our life, we seek to lead all actions with the heart. Take a deep breath and release any tension out of the center of the chest and out of the arms and hands. And then inhale. Focus on the solar plexus. The color is pale yellow. This is our action center. This is our area where we build heat. This is our area of strength and courage and purpose. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, release all the tension from your core muscles and from your back. Inhale. And then focus on your sacral area, your sacral chakra. Color is orange. This is your center of creativity and playfulness. Inhale. And then as you exhale, release any tension in your lower back and your hips, your lower belly. And then inhale. Focus your energy on your root chakra. The color is red. This is our place of safety, of feeling grounded, feeling our connection to the earth. Inhale. And as you exhale, release any tension out of your legs, out of the lowest part of your spine, out of your feet and your ankles. Go ahead and rest in Shavasana for 5 minutes. I will bring you back with my voice. Let's start coming back into the present. Start to introduce some gentle movement. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And go ahead and roll over to one side or the other. There you go. You know when you, yeah, no. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and sit up. So I find in Shavasana, I kind of get into kind of a trance, like I'm.
Especially with the sun, because it's like warming the whole top
Yeah,
of my body.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So go ahead and inhale your hands up. Exhale your hands down. Inhale up. Exhale, bring your hands to your third eye. Bring them to the heart. Lower your head in prayer. I want to thank you for sharing this time with me this morning. Indeed, the opportunity to share the energy and flow of yoga is the greatest blessing. Go out into the world with peace, with kindness, with sense of purpose. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for coming. Namaste.